elephant in the room. This is JJ Humphrey. I'm with Bobby Cleveland. We got a special guest today, Mike Thompson. Now, we're not going to be able to see Mike. He lives out in the woods and he can't get a reception where he's at. We've got to get to work on getting him some internet out there in his part of the country. I definitely understand that. I got the same problem here. We are fixing to get internet right here at my office. But we've asked Mike to come on and to talk today about two bills or two things that's going on at the state capitol. One's a bill and one's not, but it's a very important subject. And the first one is, I met Mike many, many years ago when I first became a representative, and Mike was lobbying for, and he was a county commissioner in Johnston County at that time, Johnston County. And Mike was pushing for an aggregate bill that would put a tax on aggregate material. Now, Mike, over where y'all's at, that material is sand, correct?
It's sand, limestone, and granite free.
Y'all got a little
and we are the leading producer. Yes, and we're the leading producer of aggregate rock there is, limestone. And since those days, I've been retired 4 years now. And since those days, we've added about 2 more crushers. I'm not up on my homework, but we have several crushers over there with my understanding, at least 1 or 2 more fixing to go in as we speak, so we are the leader.
Correct me if I'm wrong. The sand y'all have over there is some of the purest sand, and it's being used in like Silicon Valley and these other places to produce computer chips. Am I right on that?
That's my understanding. One of the commissioners that I served with is now dead. He used to drive for Joe Brown. He hauled that sand to New York City and everywhere else. So yes, U.S. silicon sand over there is some of the best in the world. It goes all over the United States, is my understanding.
Now, Mike, I'm hearing, I'm going back a while, but Texas buys it from us. We don't charge them a tax, but yet they tax the people who buys it from them in Texas. Is that correct?
That's my understanding, Bobby. We have train car loads every night, hundreds. I understand this, 300 to 500 cars are loaded from a couple different crushers over every night, and then they set out the next morning and head for Texas. And somehow we have a deal as a state that we're not getting no tax off of it. A lot of it's going down there for concrete, and I'm sure some of it's driveway rock and everything else, but Texas, in my opinion, is getting our sales tax, getting my sales tax in Johnston County. It is going to Texas.
Yeah, it's called a port tax. What they do, they charge a port tax. I did check this out. They charge a port tax. It's going to impress Bob that I know something like this. That Texas gets and taxes that. And sometimes in some situations, not every situation, but if that is according to what company and where they're based out of, sometimes that even when Oklahomans go to that plant and pick up gravel here in Oklahoma, they're charged that port tax that actually goes to Texas. Now, how stupid is that? That's stupid that we should allow our materials to be taken out of Oklahoma, sent all over the world, and not get a dime for it, that we don't charge it.
Answer this, one of you guys. Why are we not taxing that in Oklahoma?
We're stupid. Just stupidity.
Besides being stupid, what else would reason it be? Is this a bill that won't pass out of the House, won't pass on the floor? Is this something that lobbyists are getting involved in and they're stopping it?
But both, it's a bill that we have gotten out of the House, but we can't get it heard. We can't get nothing done in the Senate. The lobbyists are strong for the aggregate folks, and the State Chamber of Commerce has always been behind them too, as the state chamber, and that's always hurt us on that also.
And Bob, we've got it out of the house. I've ran it twice, got it out of the house. But here's the issue, and I'm just going to say it publicly. This is going to make some people mad probably. But here's the thing. When it goes over to the Senate, you've got all these corporate legal lobbyist groups that are backing huge money. So they want it dead. And it makes certain folks look better if they've got it in their district. Well, we'll pass it out of the House. We know it's going to die in the Senate. But instead of sitting up and going, you're not going to get another bill passed out of that Senate until we get our bill for this, we've never had that kind of push for it. So they did have the appetite to get it out of the House to say, look what we did. But they didn't have the appetite to say, you are going to pass our bill or we're not hearing anything else y'all got to say or you got. So there's never been that kind because of the heat of the lobbyists and the corporate and the state chamber. State chamber has poured on this like you would not believe, and they've killed it every time. I couldn't even get a hearing this time. They wouldn't even let me have a hearing this time.
Now, why is that not called corruption?
It is corruption, Bob. That's the whole deal. Again, what we're looking at Trump is saying that there's an unfair tax advantage to all of these nations that are doing business with us, and we can't sell product in theirs if they don't tax the snot out of us, but they can sell over here and we don't do anything. What's the difference? This is no different from a tariff. This is no different from, when Texas can come in here, send a company in here, take every material we have, take it to Texas, tear the crap out of our highways, railroads, everything else, and we get what? Diddly squat. And that's
I've never heard, I can say this, but that the last 11 years, the governor get involved in it and saying this is wrong. Has he ever or she ever?
No, Governor, they avoid it because they don't want to get crossways with state chamber. All right, that's my opinion. I'll let Mike can weigh in on that.
Well, I'm not for sure. I mean, the governor's never got involved. I wouldn't know on the rest of it there, but I worked on this 20-something years, walking the stairs up there and trying to get something done because I felt like there was a lot of us counties, y'all as state legislators and past state legislators want us to be more independent anyway. That would be one way for us to.
Hey, Mike, let me ask you a question. If we would have passed this and put it on roads where we would have passed the bill and said it had to go on roads, what would that have done for y'all's area, for you as a county commissioner?
Oh, it would have changed that. I could have had, instead of 7 or 8 hands, I could have 15 hands, and I could have afforded a couple more payments and had some better graders and better trucks and put more 10 horns in, haul more grass.
Would I be wrong in saying it would be night and days different?
We're having trouble with hearing you, Mike.
You with us still, Mike? Got some of that country reception is what, anytime me and Bob talk, this is what we got to go through because I get that kind of reception all the time. So we lost Mike. Mike, you want to try to get back on? We got lots of questions. But Bob, that's the difference between, I've looked at here in our county, Atoka County, we have 5 different, aggregate material places, gravel in our case, here in Atoka County. 5 different ones. You can look right down there at Streettown. They will have rails, those rail cars that carry 100 ton a car, and they'll be backed up as far as you can see, 2 rows deep. Can you imagine all of that gravel leaving there, not one tax, all going on rail car, all going, those trucks coming out of that facility. Bob, I will tell you this, where they come out of that facility, the state of Oklahoma had to go down there and cut a piece out of that road where they were at. put concrete in there because so many trucks were coming out and causing, they couldn't fix it. They had to go in there, cut it, pour a big slab of concrete because so many trucks come in and out of there, and we're not getting one dime tearing up our highways.
Okay, now when I go to Bochita, I turn off of the Highway 3 onto what road is that, JJ?
22.
22. Is there some type of a aggregate place there? I see they digging holes all over the place over there.
Well, they've got them all over, Bob. If you go down to Choctaw County, they got several. If you go down to McCurtain County, so this will be huge. Johnston County, Bryan County, Choctaw, McCurtain. I mean, it would have been huge for all southeastern Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Mike, are you with us again?
Is it only in southeastern Oklahoma, or is it north, south?
I don't know. Mike, do you know the answer to that? Are you back with us?
Yeah. Yes, I'm back with you. Four of us down in Southeastern, but there is some out, around Lawton. And there is other places in Oklahoma. I think there's some up north. How much far out west, I'm not for sure about that. There's several. I used to know how many counties it would affect, and in the form we was always running in, it would be a county option. So if Oklahoma County didn't want it, they wouldn't even have to vote on it. Tulsa County didn't want it, they don't, or it's probably not, or they wouldn't even.
Breaking up a little bit again, Mike, but I'm going to repeat because I understood what you said. And what he's talking about, Bob, is the form that we tried to run this in. We would try to. Now, here's what's funny. Y'all need to listen to this, because the first year I ran this, we were going to do a county by county option. And so here comes all the lobbyists and goes, well, that's not fair, because if this county passes it and this county next to them don't pass it, then everybody's going to run over here and get gravel where it's cheaper. Well, Bob, we were talking about 10 cents a ton. So, I mean, if you're paying the diesel to run over there at $4 a gallon or $3 a gallon, it ain't going to measure out if you're having to go very far to save that 10 cents a ton. That's a big fat lie. That's just them being stupid. But again, we come back and talked about doing it for every county, and they still were opposed to it. So it doesn't matter how you run it. If you run it county to county and let a county vote on it, they're against it. If you run it statewide, they're against it. They're against anything that would make them pay this tax. And here's what's funny. The tax would go 80-something%. It's upwards 85%. 85% of this tax would be paid by another state. It would be paid on the other state, and we would get that money back here in Oklahoma to go directly on our roads. Why would Oklahoma not like that? Why would legislators at the Capitol be so opposed? And I can tell you it's because state chamber hands out a lot of money to people's campaigns accounts, and that's why you see. Again,
that sounds like something that the governor should let OMS go in there and straighten it up and get the taxes.
Well, if the governor would, have you seen the governor do a whole lot of stuff like that? I hadn't seen it.
No, that's why we got corruption going on in the state of Oklahoma.
Yeah, I laugh. If you was paying attention, Bob, they had the Doge, Oklahoma Doge. Guess who they're going to put over Oklahoma Doge?
OMES?
OMES, I mean OMS. So they're going to take the biggest old mess and they're going to put them over cleaning up when they're the biggest problem. You want to clean up, get rid of OMS, and let's put it back to the county, to the state.
JJ, I think, to be fair, when they was all in a big mess is when Harp was the director over there, because they have not always been that way. But I think whenever he was the director, that's when it became an old mess.
Well, Bob, I'm opposed to more government. Republicans claim less government, more local government. Here we have a local issue where Mike just explained we're wanting to vote it county to county. That's as local as it gets. That's putting it down there on the county vote. That's bringing it back to the people. And I be darned, you can't even get these. I'll calm down. I don't want to name no names, but you can't get these politicians to even allow a vote to go down to the people at a local level to pay for. Tell me where else you can get all the material. You think Oklahoma City would let them come up there and take material out of Oklahoma County? You can't even park for less than $5 in Oklahoma County. They charge you for parking. Yet they won't come down there to southeastern Oklahoma, take a whole mountain and not charge one tax. Mike, you with us? Chime right in there.
Yes, I'm in and out, Jay.
Hey, I just want
Jay,
to hear
but I'm
hallelujah.
in.
Throw a hallelujah in there.
But yes,
Where's Mike at?
Mike's in Johnston County. I think he lives between Tishomingo and Wapanucka.
Okay.
Yeah.
I go through Wapanucka.
Well, I will tell you this. He's in a pretty remote area out there. There's just not a whole lot where Mike's at out there. Mike, you with us, or have we lost you again? You kind of going in and out. Bob, he's out. He's out again. But I will guarantee you that if you talk to Mike on what we're talking about, that if you brought that down there to a vote of the Johnston County people, it's going to be overwhelming, because guess what? They're not paying an 85% of all that money. And we exempted ranchers, we exempted oil and gas, we exempted the state, we exempted several others. I can't think of all the other, but we exempted all. Yeah, like if you got a ranch deal where you go pull in there, hey, I'm a rancher. Here's my stuff, that I get tax-free stuff all the time, on ranching. You got to have one of those cards, that show you are a rancher. And again, I can pull in there and get a load of gravel. Hey, here's my card, put it on record. And every time I pull up there, I get no tax. So again, if the ranchers are out there who use a lot of gravel, if the oil and gas people are out there who use a lot of gravel, we were making that the state, the county. So we weren't going to charge the county tax for picking up gravel. We weren't going to charge the state a tax for picking up gravel. So we had all of these groups. They're just a handful of people who were going to have to pay, and 85% of it's coming out of state. Now tell me why we would not want that.
Okay, let me ask you this, JJ. Is that any of that in Indian Territory?
All of it's
Chickasaw.
Yeah, Chickasaws and Choctaws.
Right. So why are they not saying something?
Well, here's the deal. Probably, and I don't want to speak for them, and I think they have stayed neutral on it because they are part of the state chamber. So they belong to the state chamber, and they work with all these corporations and all that corporate America. And so they've kind of stayed neutral on the subject. But again, I would like to see them weigh in on it. But again,
there's such a thing as doing the right thing. Forget who it is. Doing the right thing for the people of Oklahoma.
I agree, Bob. I'm a noisy. I stay noisy all the time, trying to do and I ain't gonna swear I'm always right, but I believe I'm right, or I wouldn't be that way. But Bob, I don't care who gets mad. If it's right, then we need to stand up and do what's right. But I can tell you this: Mike was the first person who sat down and explained this to me. Mike has been to the Capitol, and I know one of the first times that Mike came to the Capitol that I was up there, I said, Mike, let me just go with you. And I guarantee you, we walked our legs off that day, made a big circle around the Capitol building. He sent some people up there, court clerks and several people. And man, we walked it and we worked it. We got it passed. But because Charles McCall was on our side, we could get it passed. But it wasn't one of them bills that they would fight to make sure that it got passed. You know what I'm saying? And so state chamber knew, well, we're going to let McCall pass it over here because that's big in his area, but we'll go right over here and kill it. and then we would never continue the fight to say, you go pass that bill or y'all Senate ain't gonna get nothing passed. It would not reach to that level. He never brought it to that level, and I wished he had. I think that he should have. Again, he was speaker and I'm not, and there's a reason that he was speaker and I'm not, because he knows how to get along with people, and I know how to piss people off.
Well, what's the deal on the insurance on the cities? I mean, on the sheriffs.
Hey, Mike, are you back with us?
I'm back right at the moment, JJ.
Good,
Yep.
we hear you clear now. Hey, Mike, explain what's going on with the insurance on our jails. This is huge. Everybody needs to listen to this. This is huge.
Well, my understanding is we have about 5 counties that have had big lawsuits that come July 1, they're going to have to get from a private insurance carrier. And there's a few more jails that's on probation, and the rest of them are fine at the moment. But this has been brewing for years, with these juries giving big judgments when something happens to somebody in jail, big lawsuits. It has killed, we're a self-insured pool with, and I'm a little out of touch, but I think about 72 or 73 counties out of the 77s in our pool. I realize that Oklahoma County and Tulsa County are self-insured on their own. They're not a part of us, but the rest of us, and with these big lawsuits, it's breaking the pool. And of course, like anything, there comes a point when to save our pool, you're going to have to cut the.
I think we lost him again, Bob.
Yeah, I think you're talking about cutting. You can't cut some counties.
Well, you don't have to cut. Here's what he's saying is we've got certain counties that keep getting in problems, and they don't have the setup to handle these kind of issues, and so they keep getting sued. And so what the state AGCO, so the ones that represent all the counties, which is AGCO, and they're self-insured, they got this insurance group, and not self-insured, but they all pay into this one insurance group. And what he's saying, what Mike's saying is they just keep getting these lawsuits and keep getting these lawsuits. And so they're saying,
well, they're getting the lawsuits because they're having people killed in the county jails. They're having people killed in the county jails,
killed or misused or something. So that's true right there.
Okay, but this is because of the lack of experience, a lack of experience all the way from the sheriff on down to the jailers. Is they're not.
Well, Bob, I think there's a lot of factors. One factor that I'd like to point out to people is back about 8 years ago, we passed 780 state question, and with 780 we passed 781. Now that was a guarantee that we're going to kick out a lot of funds to help the counties pay for 780, because guess what? The whole idea was we're going to stop sending people to penitentiary and we're going to deal with them in our community.
But it never happened.
It never happened, Bob. We ain't seen. I passed off the House. I jumped up and got 781 passed. Now here's what's funny. It passed as a state question, but the state authorities, our leaderships, were ignoring the people. Now they get up and, the people, and we want to honor this. Bull crap. They had 781. They weren't paying one dime into it. This was 2 years ago. I jumped up past 781, goes over there to the Senate, and Roger Thompson kills it. Now, the next year, guess who runs it? Roger Thompson.
Yeah.
So they killed my bill because they don't want me getting credit. They're going to wait a year and screw everybody for a year so that they can get the credit to run it. They run it. He runs it. He gets somebody else on the House to run it, but they bastardize it. They don't put the money anywhere where it ought to go. They give it all to mental health. like mental health has done anything with their money except take it over there and burn it in a furnace. You might as well take your money and go burn it in the furnaces to give it.
Just change the subject real quick. Who is it up there? Is it mental health or health department that's lost a bunch of money? Like we give $30 million to at one time. They had needed $30 million. They lost it. House gave them $30 million.
That was the health department, Bob. The $32 million. That was a big deal when me and you were both in it. Big deal. Guess what? DHS. It's my understanding. We want to go check this out, but it's my understanding DHS last year lost $100 million. Now you remember when that 32 happened? Boy, it was like big ruckus. Okay,
we never got it back.
100 million, and it's like, and they went back in last week and asked for, I've got that on video, asked for another $100 million for DHS. When we've already lost 100, is my understanding. Asked for another 100. One of the freshmen said, "Hey, what y'all going to use that money for?" That
goes back again to the corruption that we have right now in the state of Oklahoma.
It's insane, Bob. And here's the deal: 781 money. They give us a little fraction, send it straight over to mental health. How does that help us in our community? How does that money get down there? And now we're demanded to have mental health experts in our jail. We're demanded to have medical experts in our jail because of all the new drugs, all the fentanyl, all the stuff that got pushed down on the county. So now our county jails have to have more and more. And again, our counties are not equipped. We've got 13, 14.
Neither is the state. The state's not equipped to handle mental health. They're not equipped at all. That's why we have all the problems in the state. Is one of the reasons, not of many, but that's one of them, is we're not equipped to handle that. Them officers, when they're trained, they don't get any training for mental health. What you speak of mental health.
But we were never expected. A jail should not be where you're having mental health trained people.
But JJ, I know a case where a gentleman was in the county jail. I don't remember which county it was. But anyway, they had him handcuffed in the front and had him ankle only bracelet. He had to go down some cement stairs. He fell, hurt himself. They wouldn't take him to medical. He couldn't get any medical attention. His cellie, who he had, carried him down to the medical department there at the jail, and they wouldn't see him. And the guy dies until a couple of days later.
Well, Bob, I'm gonna say something. Probably get me a little more hot water. So y'all people, I'd like to say I care, but I really don't care because I'm just gonna tell the truth, and somebody can try to tell me I'm a liar. But they got a deal called turnkey, and this is where one of our top legislators owns this company, and lo and behold, it's in everywhere that you want to look into, every jail. Now, how did that happen? And now they're in every jail, and then they go down there and say, we need medical, and they're going to go, nope, you don't need medical, because they're saving money, and they're getting sued. They're getting sued all the time for that. And again, that's falling back on the people. Instead of looking at why is this group getting sued all the time, who's supposed to supply the money, and they're getting sued as well. That group's getting sued. But guess what? We don't in Southeastern Oklahoma have the money to contract with the turnkey or somebody like it. We just don't have the money. Hey, Mike, have you got back with us?
Yes, I think back.
So how much of this is going to be on the fault, do you think, of the sheriffs, or how much of it is what we're talking about, that they're just demanding too much and they're trying to make our jails into mental health facilities and into, medical facilities. And we were never equipped to do all that.
Hey, just a second before you say anything. We're getting something clip across our screen, but it's so fast we can't read it. I don't know who handles that.
It looked like I was trying to see that as well. Couldn't see it. Hey, Virgil, if you're listening and you can send that to my text, just text it to me what they said, and we'll get that questions in there.
But we, in Cleveland County, if I'm not mistaken, we've got 4 deaths the last year.
Yeah, and y'all got. I've been through Cleveland County, and y'all got a heck of a good setup medical, and that's
Uh-huh.
just because they ignore the problem, and then it falls back on the people. Cleveland County has a great setup. I mean, they've got where they can come in and medically look at people, and they got people on staff. But if they ignore that, or if they take people down there and refuse to give them any kind of health treatment or mental health treatment, which is what has gotten Cleveland County in a lot of trouble, is their unprofessional conduct. But now, Mike, what about in these jails that got dropped? So we have 5 across the state. I know 2 of them would be Push County and Choctaw County, which are the districts I serve. Do you know anything about what's going on with them?
Well, I'm pretty sure that it's just a big lawsuits that's been lost, and the pool just can't stand it. So and it's kind of been brewing for a long time that it seems like the juries and stuff are awarding huge lawsuits now for stuff that I don't think all of it's the sheriff's fault, nor all of it's the jailers or any, some of it's just people that have been on drugs and abused their old self for a lot of years, and they get in there and then they happen to die.
I bet you that a lot of the problem is they're understaffed.
Yes, and then you get down here in our country, we can't afford naturally to have what you can up there in Cleveland County or Oklahoma County. That's for sure.
We're understaffed. We're understaffed. Well,
Right.
here's what I'm told. Our insurance in Cleveland County is more than tripled because of the jail.
And I could see that because of, and it's not ACO and it's not our pool. It's in my opinion, it's the lawsuits that's been awarded. I'm understanding that we lost a $33 million lawsuit, but I don't know in what county. I'm not sure what county. Well, a pool like ours can't take very many things like that, and they've got to start letting some of them go. And so that's what I think has happened. I think there's been a lot of jails. We had the worst jail in the state of Oklahoma. 15, 18. I can't remember when we built ours. Ours has probably been in business about 15 years by now, maybe. And we had we had the worst jail in the state of, not perfect, but we're a lot better than what we once was. And there's been a lot of new jails built. I remember when Cleveland County built theirs, back several years ago. And I know it's a nice state-of-the-art jail. And there've been some other, even small and poor counties build new jails. So I think we've come a long way from 20 years ago, and training. And I think we've come a ways on training and everything else. But I think as long as juries are given huge lawsuits, in my opinion, there is some that's probably negligence, but a lot of it is, how long can you abuse yourself on drugs and live like a bunch of animals out there and then get put in jail and something and just die? I mean, they ain't taking care of themselves. So we're bringing people into our jail that have not taken very good care of themselves through the years.
Well, and
there's a bunch of them. So,
Mike, another thing is that when we passed this 780, it pushed all this drug stuff down. Now we don't have anybody in the community to supervise that because the DA's hijacked the supervision. So they do absolutely no supervision. They just collect money off these people. If you do no supervision, you do no behavioral change, and you tell a person who's doing dope, that they got to pay more money, how are they going to pay more money? They're going to go out and up their game. They're going to deal more dope, do more dope. So guess what? It's a vicious cycle round and round. Now we're seeing all of this fentanyl be mixed in. Now with Trump, I hope we see that reduction. But we have seen fentanyl. And I was in the jail there at Token not very long ago, and they found some dope. They were dressing a guy out. They found some dope. There was nobody there to help, so I'm a reserve deputy. I went in there and said, lay that dope down, and I'll watch it until an officer gets here and can take custody of it. The guy they're suiting out, I know him. I've supervised him 100 times. I'm going, hey, what's your name? This guy could not even tell me his name, his mom's name. When the officer got there, I said, hey, I'm used to dealing with people who tweaking out on methamphetamine. They can at least tell you who they were and their name and where they live. I said, this boy right here is a walking zombie. I said, is that the norm anymore? And he goes, hey, that's what they're all like. So again, not only have we seen abuse of drug, but we've seen the type of drug and the mental health issues and the
We're not set up for that. We're not trained for that.
And fentanyl will kill you. I mean, fentanyl will kill you. We're not set up for that. And we were supposed to get all this money. Where's the money at? Now, let me
781, JJ, if I'm not mistaken, 781, the counties had to pass something before they could get any of the money of 781.
Well, here's the deal.
Automatically.
The state was supposed to come up with how much money they were saving. And whoever wrote that, man, they were probably doing a little bit of the product themselves because they did a terrible job. They should have laid down the crack pipe and come over and got somebody who was sound mind to write that for them because they did a hell of a bad job and have wrecked, they have wrecked Oklahoma's criminal justice system in their communities. But the question, tell me what we can do legally. Mike, tell me what kind of bill we could pass. How do we go in and set something up to pay for and protect our communities and our property owners? Because our listeners need to understand what we're talking about. When they drop this insurance off of these jails and then they get the next lawsuit, guess what? Your property taxes are going to triple, quadruple, and I don't know what comes after quadruple. Quadruple. That's what's fixing to happen. Am I wrong on that, Mike?
Well, now they can get insured, I think, through private insurance. And I think that's what, and I'm probably a little off of my course here. I don't know a whole lot of past having insurance or ACO self-insured insurance, but that's what's happening. That's what could happen, but I think they can get insurance that will help protect them, but it's going to be more money and it's going to cost the county more money to get it. Than probably what it was.
You're getting kicked off because you're high risk. To try to get insurance means you're going to be high risk. So again, my property taxes are going to go up just to cover the insurance. And then if the insurance is only so much and you get sued past that, guess what? Property tax is going to go more to cover that lawsuit.
Well, it's not only that, if we're talking about the inmates and the drugs in the prison, but we got the sheriff deputies having a ton of wrecks, some of these counties.
Oh yeah, there's lots of problems going on in the county. Some of this could be self-corrected. I'll give you an example in a lawsuit happened in Atoka. Now, and it wasn't, and the sheriff, hey boy, our sheriff got smoked on this, and it wasn't his fault per se. Tushka, the city of Tushka, arrested a guy. And he was telling them he was sick and having blood sugar and pneumonia and this kind of stuff. They take him out to the hospital because they thought he was DUI because he was acting all loopy and everything. They take him to hospital. Hospital checks him out and says he's fine. They did take blood. How come they couldn't find out right then? I don't know whether they tried to do a breathalyzer and he refused. I don't know the whole detail on that. But it comes out he had no alcohol in his system. They take him down there to the jail and he dies. Now, our sheriff never even knew this guy was in jail. I mean, he don't go over and check out everybody coming to jail and do a medical check on them and the whole 9 yards. The guy was just brought from the hospital, so you would think medically if anybody's going to be sued, it'd be the hospital. But instead, they sued the jail, and I think it was $3 million something. And our property
hospital knew it, and they wanted to get him out of there and put it over from sheriffs.
I don't know, Bob, but here's the city of Tushka with nothing that I know of, and here's the hospital, and the county is stuck with it, and the county is having to go up on their property taxes 7%. Now
And
again,
how far is Mike from Lane?
Mike, you about 40 mile probably from me over here at Lane.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be a good idea, Mike, if you come back on here with us and go to JJ's office and tell him to scoot over, and you get right in that
Hey,
right
listen,
in there.
listen, we are going to, they come and put a box on my building the other day. And when they hook us up for internet, I actually have a room already dedicated. 4 people can get on a Zoom and we can have 4 people. Bob, I've even got it set up when you say something I don't like, I can hit a little legal wing.
Well, I was thinking that maybe Mike could come there.
Oh, I'd love Mike.
So we could do it right, because he's got a lot of information. And
no, here's the deal. And Mike, I think you're still with us, but honestly, Mike, that's why I call him. Mike's one of those people that has been around and still around, and he's plugged in. I didn't announce that he's still with Mike, what's CED stand for? What's that?
Circuit Engineering. I'm with Circuit Engineering District number 4. There's 8 Circuit Engineering Districts through the state of Oklahoma.
I'm with 2. I thought you were 2.
JJ, I knew that. I knew that. I can't believe you didn't know that.
Hey, is it the district I'm in, number 2? Is it 4 or 2?
I'm thinking you might be 2, because I'm 4, and that takes in the 8 counties. You know, Johnston County, Cole County, Pontotoc, Ofusky, Seminole, Hughes.
You're in the wrong district, Mike. You're in the wrong district.
Yeah.
District 2.
Yeah. So
I just assumed you was in my district. Our district is 2, so when I put it out there, it said 2. So hey, y'all mark it down. Bob's right. I made a mistake. So mark it down one time. Wrong. But
yeah, that's first time.
So basically, Mike, you still are plugged in to where you're kind of helping all the county commissioners across that area you just named with these kind of issues, correct?
Yeah, I work 1 day a week, and I go to a commissioner meeting every Monday in one of them 8 counties, unless it's a holiday, and then I go on Tuesday. And now I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I try to help them with bridge projects or different things. And they call me and ask me if I've had this scenario or that scenario happen, you know, and down here we dug graves, you know, like some of them still are, but we dug graves up to not too many years ago. And so, you know, it can be, I've had some cemetery issues. They call me on and just stuff. Try to go out and visit with them. And one thing I'm going to do, I'm always going to be honest with them. And if I don't know the answer, you know, I'll try to get them in contact with somebody at ACO or some of our people that know. And if it's a certain legal question and I think I'm right, I still always tell them to double check with their DA, because that's who ultimately is going to defend them or prosecute them, you know, if they did something wrong. And so you always want your DA's blessing. So I always tell them that, but I just make the rounds and visit with the guys and try to help them through any problems they have and stuff like that, and road projects and bridge projects.
But Mike, you're over a place where you're going to hear all of these issues, so you're very aware of what we're talking about with the insurance, what we're talking about with this gravel bill.
Yes.
You got any ideas? I mean, is there anything that we can do on that jail to create a self-insurance in the state that would insure these? Can we do a tort reform? I mean, I think this is the feds. What they're doing is taking this out of state and going to the Fed, and that's how they're getting all this bigger money, is through them. Is there any law we can pass that say, you know, we're on the hook for this amount and we're not going to do any more than that amount?
Well, sure, that'd be somebody smarter than me. I wouldn't be surprised there's some kind of bill we could come up with to help put more money in there. You know, there there was a bill, and I wasn't really prepared for this all the way, but the legislators just give the sheriff some money this past year, and I believe it was to help with salaries, and and why couldn't that be regrouped to help pay insurance?
Well,
Right now,
I think,
that's the most important thing.
I think that I got a little plan that I'm cooking up.
You gotta have people. That was to help to hire more deputies. You've got to have that, and that's where we're short. Some of these guys, quite honestly, don't know how to handle a budget. They don't know the first thing about a budget, and they get in trouble because they think that they can just spend what they want and then just go ask for more money. But it doesn't work like that. It's not private sector. This is the government.
Well, and the problem is there's nobody when you have that. I'll give you a good example. Again, I'm going to get in trouble, but I'm going to say right there in Cleveland County, your sheriff is like, wow. And it's every time you turn around, we're $1 million short, we're $3 million short, we're $4 million short. We had somebody drive over here and have a wreck, and nobody's holding that accountable. And then when your county commissioners do come out and try to hold them accountable, when the treasurer tries to come out and hold them accountable, then they go after them like they're somehow telling a lie when anybody ought to be able to keep up with it, or they arrest the people who actually tell it. So they arrested a guy on blog, I understand, arrested him, took him to Oklahoma City, brought him back there, turned him loose, and now dropped the charges, I think. And again, guess what that's going to result in? I'm going to predict. Let me put my prophet hat on. I got my good looking newer hat on. I'm going to call it my prophet hat, put it on. Guess what? Another lawsuit. So that's the kind of stuff you're getting sued on.
I got it. A note here from the county commissioner. He talked about increasing the daily rate of housing. Like we ought to be up to $56, where it's just is what they're paying, but I think they're only paying the counties $30, $33.
I think they got that. We had a lawsuit going on in Tulsa over that, and I think they just won. But I want to say they're going to look at like Tulsa and Oklahoma City getting a certain rate, and then others won't be able to collect that rate because they don't offer stuff. So again, there is whoever said that is an awesome plan. It's something we need. I had actually offered a bill to set a set rate across there like that. Had that all ready to go, and then it got set aside because this lawsuit. They thought they could get more if they won this lawsuit. We have won that, is my understanding. Now, they may appeal it again, but we have won that, and now we'll be able to see, will we get that? And I can't remember, is that from DOC or what? But here's the question, Bob. What about these people in the community that aren't sentenced to DOC? Now, should mental health have to pay if they've been assessed mental health? I think mental health should have to pay every day they're sitting there in that bed.
We'll talk about that. What about the ones that are in the county jail, but yet they belong to DOC?
Well, DOC is going to have to pay them, but they're paying at a rate of like $30-something a day. That rate should definitely, whoever wrote that is absolutely 1,000% correct, because DOC says, oh, it cost us $80 a day to house them. Well, guess what? Is DOC offering rehabilitative programs? I mean, you know what DOC's offering? How to make a shank and how to stab somebody, how to get raped, how to get a really trauma.
Well, they got that down pat.
Yeah. What do you think, Mike? What any ideas on what we're talking about?
Well, no, I'd have to think on that a little more, but we definitely need to raise the rate per day where they can afford a little more. And I agree with Bobby that other bill was designed to help pay, your deputies and stuff, because we couldn't keep them because they could always go to somewhere else and earn more money. And I agree with that, but I don't know if some of that money could be set aside, if there's enough in there to set some aside.
Yeah. Well, hey, Mike,
pay
Mike, you're really high in my
insurance
book.
for counties that, you know,
Go ahead, Mike. I think we lost him again, Bob. Hey, Mike, if you can hear us, you're really high in my book. But now, if you start agreeing with Bob, I'm going to have to bring you down a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yes. But if you can hear me, I still think that I don't know if there could be some money set aside for the insurance out of that money to raise the deputies and stuff, because I think we're just in the start of 5 counties, but way these lawsuits are falling, there's going to be more counties axed from the plan, because they're going to have to be. It's nothing personal. You know, there's nobody probably bleeds any more as a county commissioner than me, even though I'm retired. I bleed ACO. I believe in ACO. I believe in all of these programs. But this is just a tip. There's going to be more counties kicked off before it's over with, losing lawsuits. So I don't know if that's a start to fish some of that money out of there a little bit to help pay the extra insurance it's going to cost going to a private carrier. Because like you said a while ago, if you're a bad claim, then when you go to the private world, it's going to definitely be high.
Well, here's the thing, though. If they're getting money to hire more people, supposedly, and then you do a little audit and you find out they're not hiring more people, but yet they're taking the money, that's something that needs to be looked at. If this money is being used as the way it's supposed to be used. Now, I served on the excise equalization board for 11 years. And Mike, I tell you, I learned a lot about county commissioners and what they do. And they get a bad rap because they do a lot. A lot of stuff is put on their back that they have to do and get by with money that they're not getting it from the Oklahoma City capital.
Well, I appreciate that, because I believe that. I believe county government works on a shoestring budget.
It does.
And probably does as for their money as any organization, any governmental organization out there, from the commissioners to the sheriff to the assessor and the treasurer and the 2 clerks. We've always operated on less money than anybody, but served the people of our county and done a pretty decent job. But it is disturbing that with these lawsuits coming, the insurance pool cannot keep going like that, whether it's self-inflicted or not. It's like,
well, they got to stop. They got to stop, though, Mike. They've got to stop putting these people with mental health into the county jails, into the DOC. It's got to stop.
And we got another county commissioner saying exactly that. The mental health people shouldn't be coming to our jail. We got to stop criminalizing that. We got to get more mental health places so that they don't even come to jail. They're supposed to divert those from going. That's what 781 was supposed to do, and it's been massive failure.
Right. So yeah, there's a lot of things that need to be fixed, and but I think at the end of the day, somewhere we're going to have to come up with money so it don't go on the tax roll for some of these counties, because I think there'll be more counties in the future put off of our insurance pool because of lawsuits and claims and stuff. And I'm not pointing my finger at the sheriff or nothing else. I mean, we've got a lot of good sheriffs out there working on very little money. And so, but still yet, somehow we're going to have to be able to pay for this insurance for our jails once they're put off of the ACO insurance.
Yeah, just because I use that one example of that one sheriff, I sure don't mean that on every sheriff. We got a lot of great sheriffs that are doing shoestring budgets, that are getting fentanyl dumped on them, getting mental health dumped on them, getting medical issues like you talked about. They went out there, they've got rotten teeth, they all got medical problems, and now they come to jail, and we're supposed to try to take care of all the sudden.
Yeah, I'll tell you something. The Attorney General, which this has never happened, the Attorney General is going to represent the sheriff in Cleveland County when they go to court.
Are they kinfolk, Bob?
I don't know, but Attorney General will do that, but yet he wouldn't investigate DHS and all the problems going on there. He wouldn't investigate the murder, the rapes, all the things going on in the prisons, the Department of Corrections. He wouldn't investigate that, but he's got time to go up there and represent somebody. It's a misdemeanor.
Well, for falsely arresting somebody, why would you even represent? You don't have to look at that case 1 second and go, wow, what in the world's going on? And now he's going after the person for what? For what law did they even violate? It's unbelievable. But I do want to say that we're talking about one sheriff, and we're not talking about all of them. And We're talking about all the problems that have been dumped on our county. And it's not just the sheriff, because the county commissioners got to pay for all this. The judges have to try to find places. Where do we go with these people? What do we do with these people? And again, a lot of them are being sent to penitentiary for lack of anything else to do with them, because we have to get them out of our facility. We're in a train wreck. And we've got to have some more discussions.
But I don't see anything coming out of the Capitol. I've never heard of
no
thing coming out of the Capitol try to do something about this.
Bob, they're not even having conversations on this. I can promise you, before all is said and done, I can promise you they will be having some conversations, because I'll make double dog sure they're going to be having some conversations. But it's a shame that one guy has got to try to come in and push this into the conversation. And they'll try to push hard back and say, JJ's crazy. Maybe crazy, but what we're talking about is a huge problem, and we better get it fixed.
A major problem in the state of Oklahoma. It affects a big portion of the families of Oklahoma.
Oh, property owners ought to be up outraged. If you're a property owner and you're listening to this, you better get mad. And you better get on that phone to the Capitol and start calling people and say they better get a fix to this. Hey, Mike, you got anything you want to say? We're fixing to jump off here. We'll let you have a last word.
Well, I'm sure honored that you asked me to be on there. I remember Bobby when he was in office. I appreciate y'all's letting me be a part of your show today. It's been a real pleasure. I hope it helps. I come back anytime. I don't know much, but I'll sure try all I can. I sure appreciate y'all having me.
Hey, Mike, when I get my little studio set up here in my building, we will get on here and we'll pre-plan a lot of things to throw Bob a loop. We'll get on some questions that'll make Bob have to put on his thinking cap or something.
Well, JJ, you keep pointing to behind you where you got this studio. That's the bathroom.
No, Bob. When you go to the bathrooms, hang a right, and you're right there in my big tent downtown studio. I
guess I missed that.
Yeah, you got to go open that door. The secret place, Bob. Okay. It really is. Hey, I've already bought a lot of equipment. It's set up in there. It's going to be really, really good. But I don't have the internet to run it. But we just got a box. They're going to come back in and put it in that room. So I'll make sure I have it in that room. And so, yeah, it'll be pretty cool. And then all I got to do is buy the video camera and we're good to go. I got it already.
Let me ask you a question before you cut off here. Who is going to take the lead? Who is the person responsible for this criminalization of the mental health people into our jails? Is it the governor? Is that something the governor should be doing in his duties? Or is it something the legislators are going to do? Because they're not going to do nothing.
Well, it's mental health. It's the mental health department is getting the funds to be seeing these people, assessing these people, and getting them into an inpatient. But they're not building inpatient. They're not trying to get inpatient. They're wasting their money like burning it in a furnace. And again, they're not trying to adapt or get beds here in Oklahoma to meet the growing need of mental health that should never, ever be put in jail. They should be assessed before they get to jail. And if they are in jail, they should be assessed. And if they are mental health, our mental health people are saying, well, they're in jail and we can't take them. Bull, they're community and you can take them. And if it's assessed a mental health problem, take them to a mental health facility. that's what they need to do, Bob.
Okay.
Hey, we're going to have to get off here. Man, great discussion. Mike, I appreciate you very much. You have a blessed day. Bob, I appreciate you as always. Y'all have a blessed day. And our listeners, hey, join us on jj4ok.com, jj4ok.com, and join us all the time. Look over there what we're doing. Appreciate y'all very much. Y'all have a blessed day.